it going? Matthew Bailey Media here, and welcome to another 2025 movie review. Now, this time, I think, depending on when this gets uploaded, I did recently do my review of the Smurfs movie as of this recording, and you all know how I felt about that movie once you see the review. But this time, we're going to be shifting to a way better movie than that, and that is, of course, the one movie I've been anticipating aside from the third Avatar film coming out this year, and that is, of course, the Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, I will admit I was a little nervous about this movie, especially because this is the first real Fantastic Four movie set within the MCU in a way, and we know that they're going to be and this isn't really a spoiler in a way because it was already confirmed even before the movie came out, but they are going to be featured in Avengers Doomsday. So the events that happened during this movie, I will admit, were great. And I will admit, even though they cast Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, even though he's got a lot of political stuff, at least he didn't feature that in this movie. That's the thing that I like about... I think that's what so many people don't seem to realize, is that as long as he's not like shoving a bunch of his ideology, politics stuff in his dialogue for his character in any movie that he's in or show that he's in, I think you really need to just give him a chance when it comes to that. Now, in regards to the other characters, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm I thought was great. Joseph Quinn, I think is his name, as Johnny Storm, was pretty good. Not as good as Chris Evans, but I still think he did a decent job. And I think her name is Julia Gardner, who played like not really a gender swapped version of the Silver Surfer, because in reality she is sort of the actual wife, I think, to Norrin Radd, or whatever, who is the actual Silver Surfer that we know from the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie that came out. And to be fair, and I forgot the name of the guy who plays Galactus in this movie. That's the thing too, is that we actually got a much more dedicated adaptation of Galactus in this movie, and which is way better than what we got in Rise of the Silver Surfer. I still thought that movie was okay, it wasn't bad. I just wish they did better with Galactus in that movie. And this is the only Fantastic Four movie not to feature Doctor Doom as the main villain, which we're about to see him played by Robert Downey Jr. in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, so really looking forward to that. Now, we do get a tease of him in a way, slight spoiler, in the mid-credits scene of this movie. We do get a little bit of a hint to Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. We don't see his face, we just see a cloaked figure holding a mask, standing next to Franklin Richards, who we all know this was a so this is not a spoiler either, but we knew that the son of Sue and Reed was going to be featured in this movie, because they were talking about, they kept mentioning how she was pregnant in the trailers, so it's not really a surprise that Franklin was featured in this movie. But the fact that Doctor Doom was even standing next to him, and again, I don't think it was Robert Downey Jr. who was playing the character, but in that scene, because all we saw was his mask or whatever. But all we do know is that they're going to be somehow featured in Avengers Doomsday. We don't know how it's going to play out, but again, the guy, I forgot the name of the actor who plays Ben Grimm too, but he definitely did a good job as the Thing. The CGI on him I thought was okay. I think it was definitely a lot better than another version of Fantastic Four that we shall not speak of. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is, this movie was definitely a much more faithful adaptation for the Fantastic Four, set somewhat in the MCU, just on a different Earth than the one we know, which is 616, and this was definitely not 616. It was a different Earth. But I'm curious as to how this is going to lead into Avengers Doomsday, so I'm really looking forward to that when it comes out. But anyways, let me give you my rating of the movie. So, for my rating of the Fantastic Four First Steps, like I said, I know this is probably a really short review of the movie, but I still thought it was really good, and I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 5. Yep, 4 out of 5. Definitely a much more respectful adaptation for the Fantastic Four, especially for the character of Galactus. Definitely did his character justice, unlike the Rise of the Silver Surfer film. So, anyways, that's all for now in this review, and as always, I will see all of you guys in the next video.